Three, two, one. Welcome to Sydney Reflect, Krishna.
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much.
I'm good, man. It's hard to get you on our show, man. You have been a busy woman, man.
Oh
What's
my God,
up?
no, it's hard to catch you. It's just that I think we don't kind of have a mutual time when we both are free.
Yeah,
So today is a good day.
it's been kind of a month I've been approaching you, man. Come on, you are busy these days, man. You're a busy woman.
It's good to be busy, actually.
Yeah, I love being busy, man. But it's kind of getting hard for me right now because I've just been to a vacation for 5 days, and coming back, it's like I have so many things to do, man. It's so overwhelming right now.
That's true. I think I went for the trip for to Melbourne trip
Mm,
last week for Diwali,
mm.
and like I had a very good time with my family. And when I came back, and I was like, oh shit, reality hits.
Maybe we should start this with like our journey of traveling because you love traveling. You have traveled to different places, same as me. So let's start with that. What's traveling for you? Why do you like to travel? Like why do you do it?
I think that's the only thing where I can be myself.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel that I'm carefree. I don't worry about a lot of things that comes in my life or goes out in and out.
Mm.
So that's the only time when I can be myself and just enjoy the nature. I think I have traveled. Luckily, I have been getting a chance to travel a lot during my life
Mm.
till now, and I hope I'll get that too in future.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I really enjoy that. Be it solo traveling, be it with my friends, be it with my family. All I need is a good company
Mm-hmm.
and any place, literally any place.
Same for us.
I
Like,
think if you remember,
mm-hmm.
we went to Kiama, I remember by train, you, me, and one of our friends,
Kayama, yeah.
long time
Long
back.
time.
I think it was a very memorable one. I
That
mean,
was
it
one
was
of the
really
first trips that I ever did in Sydney, actually, like a long distance trip somewhere. That was the first.
yeah. I think yeah, during that, like that was a student life and
Mm-hmm.
facing, trying to manage trying to get a balance between your uni, your work, and also your passion to travel.
Mm-hmm.
Quite difficult, but somewhere I tried to manage it in between. And yeah, I traveled to New Zealand in 2019.
I need to be
Um,
there. I haven't been there yet.
it was a very, at that time, it was a very expensive trip. But
Mm-hmm.
now, when I look back, I think it was really worth it.
It's always worth it, man. I mean, people hesitate a lot to spend a lot in, like, again, it's personal choices, but I would spend anything for traveling. Like right now I'm really broke. I'm really very broke because I travel. I spend so much money in like adventure sports and stuff. But yeah, I think it's worth it at the end of the day. Again, as I said, it depends on people's like view of life, how they want to live and everything. But traveling somehow, helps you go and connect with nature, helps you get out of your regular routine. So it's always fun. Like it's always
It's
nice.
kind of a charger. You charge yourself.
Exactly. It's a
So like
way.
I still remember like in 2018, when I came to Australia in 2018 Feb,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like missing my family, and it was a very hard time,
Mm-hmm.
of course. But I went back the same year to Nepal, and
Mm.
luckily I went. After that, I never got a chance to go back.
Yeah.
So yeah, so even that 2 weeks period, it was a charge up, and I think from that time, I think I'm still holding with that charge,
Mm-hmm.
with my family, or I'm still holding the same energy, just remembering that memories I made.
Mm.
So that kind of gives me energy, I guess.
It
Yeah.
does. It does.
Yeah.
It's always like joyful to actually either look back at the photos or just remember, like, oh shit, we did this. Oh yeah, it was like that. It's always fun,
I,
It's joyful to have that, to do that. And
yeah.
especially, I don't know, coming out here, it had somehow just opened up that, like opportunity. Or it's like not that hard to earn certain money and save it and just go out. And it's much easier out here. I was just having this chat with my mom yesterday where I was like, I had always been like a kind of a guy who wants to go out and do things. And right now I'm in a position that I can actually do that. So I wouldn't miss that out, man. I'm going to do that more.
Exactly. That freedom, it's very precious,
It
actually.
is. And not only
Honestly.
freedom, it's like with the freedom you have, like those resources or those opportunities out here, like just think about it. Going back home, like if you wanted to travel to New Zealand, how much would it cost? How much would it
Exactly.
take for you to earn that and go there and do that,
Exactly.
It's much
The
easier out here.
process, the visa process to the travel, it's gonna cost a lot. That's
Exactly.
true.
Exactly, right? So it's like much easier for us out here, and I just want to utilize this opportunity. Like my plan was actually to go to a new country every year, which hasn't been true because of the COVID.
Yeah.
But no complaints because I have been traveling enough in here already with the domestic travel. So I'm enjoying
I
that.
think Australia is quite big enough to try explore.
It is a very big place to explore. I mean,
Definitely.
I have like traveled most of the Sydney. I haven't told this before, but this actually happened like after we finished our studies. I was actually planning to go to Brisbane. I was planning to manage some job out there and just be there. And that is actually when I realized that shit, I've been in Sydney for like 2 years and I don't know much of the places, man. Are you sure? Am I sure that I'm living in Sydney? Do I know enough places? And I think that's when it started, and I started like going out and traveling. Although I travel a lot during the uni days, from uni itself, because there were plenty of opportunities in uni to be in different places. I went to US from uni. That was a great thing to have. But
Yeah.
after that only I realized that I should be going out and traveling places. And since then, the rest is history.
It's amazing. That's
Yeah, it's been fun, man, being here and doing everything. And as you were saying, how it was hard during your student days, and even then we used to travel. Tell us more about like what was your student life like here, out here in Australia? Like, what was your international student journey like?
uh, it takes me back.
It
back
does.
back in 2018.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I came to Australia in February. I still remember the date, 14 February, which I can never forget.
Okay. Valentine's Day.
Yeah. So I landed in Australia on 14th of February 2018. So,
Mhm.
I have been out of my home for a while. Like I left my home when I was 15 after my 10th. So I went to India to do my further studies. And again, that was my choice. Like my parents really who has been really supportive, but they were also concerned being a very young girl going alone to a different country. But they were really supportive and I was able to make it. I always wanted some, I feel like it's kind of exposure to go out and,
Mhm.
explore that place, explore the culture, explore the people, explore their system. So it's kind of, I have been blessed with that, I feel. So I have been out of home, but being in India was really different because,
Mhm.
I was financially backed up by my parents.
Mhm.
So, I just need to make a call and my bank would
Money
be
right in the
depositing
bank.
my money. Exactly. So I never, kind of thought that staying away from my family would be that tough
Mhm.
or, the struggle is actually different.
Mhm.
So when I made a decision after my bachelor's, so I completed my bachelor's in India itself. So I stayed almost like 6 years in India,
That's long.
completed my, yeah, it's a lot of time. Completed my +2, completed my bachelor's in economics. Then I decided that, hey, I think I need to explore some Western countries.
Mhm.
I want to get more exposure. That's when I discussed this with my dad, and he was like, "Are you sure? You mean he has visited a lot of countries, literally,
Mhm.
like he has visited half of the world. He roamed around, so he
That's where
knew
it
the
comes from.
struggle. I wasn't
That's
sorry."
where the traveling comes from, I guess.
Exactly. So which which I wasn't aware of it. He has seen the world. So
Mm.
he told me that it's gonna be a different struggle. It's not gonna be the same the way you are in India, or
Mm.
it's gonna be very tough. He warned me. But I was like, it's okay. I'll take that challenge. I'll take up that challenge. I
Mm.
made up my mind, came to Australia. but it's very easy to say that, or easy to just say, hey, I'll be doing that. But when it came up, it was different, definitely. As I think every international student do, struggle with jobs. So first 3 months I had no job. I still remember the money I got back from Nepal was about to finish, and I had no job. So my first job, I still remember, I haven't kind of discussed this with everyone, but it's I think a lovely platform to discuss about it.
Yes,
so I worked as a carer, like as a support worker in with one of the agents. I don't remember also, to be honest, but I still know it was 15 hours fortnightly. So I used to get around $600 fortnightly with that work, and I was still living with that. I mean, it was like I was trying to squeeze all my expense, squeeze all my rent, and luckily at that time I was staying with a lot of my friends, so my rent was quite low, which is our basic expense. So I was able to squeeze all my expense and that.
Do you remember what was your weekly expenses like back then?
I think it was around like $250. I still used to save like $50, to be honest.
I used to spend my week for like $200 a week, like with everything.
Yeah, me too. I think $250 used to be my weekly expense, including rent, honestly.
Yeah. And now now it's like double of that, and it seems like it's not enough.
I think human needs increases with time and with the resources that comes up. Yeah, and then I was of course not happy with that, of course, because I have been always a very pampered kid. Very, I was always protected by my parents, always, looked after by my parents. So when I came here, I was all alone, and you can't share everything back to your family, back to your family back in your country, because somewhere down the lane that they're gonna be worried, so you can't share everything with them. But yeah, so it was going on. I did that job for a month, then I end up so I was literally like asking everyone for the help. And at that time I think I even wasn't kind of you are new to the country, you're not new to the systems, how to apply the job or how to approach. So I think it was quite new. So I even worked in an Indian restaurant for 2 days and I did not get paid.
Okay.
So I mean, and I never went back and asked, because I never knew that I can ask that, if that makes sense. I mean, yeah, it wasn't cash. So like I had nothing to say to them. So yeah, after that, one of my
I think this would be a very good lesson for whoever is listening. Like, if you're working somewhere and if you're working somewhere as an international student, there's this thing called, what is that? Fairman Ombudsman. It's very hard. Fair Work Ombudsman, right? So there is always that branch where you can actually go and complain. Doesn't matter if you're working in cash or in tax, because when you come in early, when you're in the early days, you don't know that. Sometimes students don't know that even working in cash, they legally have to pay taxes. That's the legal income. So if someone is not paying you that, or someone is actually exploiting you, you can always go and complain.
At that time you don't know that thing, Yeah, you don't know that. So I just let it go. So after that, I ended up with a cleaning job. I think a lot of our international students do that.
Everybody has, I think, I mean, everybody should do that, when you come in here. Although I always say that you shouldn't like stick to a cleaning job and you should move forward. But when you come here, you should at least do cleaning jobs for at least few months. At least you will know what it's like,
Exactly.
Everybody does that.
Definitely. And I think it taught me a big, it gave me a lot of strength. It turned me, it took me out of my comfort zone, I would say. So I used to work like 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. doing a school cleaning. So I used to wake up at 3 to my day used to start at 3:30.
I remember you telling me that.
So I then catch a train at 4 and drop to I think it was Petersham, drop to Petersham by 4:30 and walk half 30 minutes to that school because there used to be no buses or nothing during that time. So yeah, that then I used to then go back to uni, have uni classes if I have. Then at that time, then I was also working in one of the restaurants in Circular K. So I always used to do closing. So it used to be like 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. usually. So this was going on. But when I was doing this 2 job, I was doing it to, make up with my expenses or, to just live. But I knew back in the mind that this is not something I have come for. I mean, this is not something I would always want to do it, or I need something else. So I was like kind of trying to learn with the system, trying to learn with the how to approach, how to, what can be the best way to approach to the employers here. So that's where it all came up. And luckily, I think in December 2018, December 2018, I got into education industry. So that was I think that was like a dream come true at that stage, to be honest.
What did you get into?
I got into Afea Global.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got into there as a counselor and admin. So it was a great opportunity for me. I think I have learned a lot during that role. So I worked there for a while. I think I just left in July 2020. Sorry, no, not July 2020, 2019. Yeah, 2019. But also, luckily, at that time, I also got a job in my uni itself, our CQ uni, as an employment assistant. So I think everything came good together. So I literally was like on cloud 9 when I got all this thing. And I think from there, my, I would say my career pathway started.
Into the professional.
When I was working at CQ also, it was a great opportunity to know people, to know students. Because when I was when I was struggling with the odd jobs, I think that time I knew that I want to help newcomers. I want to help new students how to approach, or, I want to share my experience so that they can learn something from my experience. Maybe it can be I want it to be a little help, to be honest, just to make their their transition phase simple or more comfortable. So that's where it came up.
It was kind of same for me, like, because I worked as a social innovation ambassador. When I was working there, I somehow feel obliged to to help those newcomer students, somehow to guide them, because I never had anyone to do that for me. So somehow I feel obliged to do that out of nowhere. Like I have no responsibility to do that. I don't need to do that, but somehow I felt obliged that I should be out there helping those students, because that happened to me, which means that is going to happen to them. Maybe I could help them somehow. I had that feeling too.
Exactly, honestly. And when I started working with CQ University and started working with Afea Global, I think that's where I was, I was in touch with international students directly, so that's where I thought, like, I never knew that is something I would like, to be honest, when I started. But eventually or gradually, I started loving that, when you get a little, little appreciation, or when you see that your experience or, the things you are sharing is actually making a little difference in their life, it really motivated me to stick to it. So I sticked with Afea Global. I think that has been a very good opportunity for me, in a sense that it gave me a lot of exposure. Like, I started working with universities, build that relationship, build the networking, build those connections. it has been amazing. So after, yes, and I came as a masters of human resource management student. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought it kind of aligned with my course also and aligned with my passion. Like I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to work with people. So yeah, so it has been amazing.
That's great to know. What was your like student journey in terms of like time management, because that's one of the thing that we struggle. Most of us struggle with most. Like how did you manage like doing 2-3 jobs and study at the same time?
Oh my God. At one time, I was doing 4 jobs. And I was still managing my time, to be honest. I was doing my assignments. I was going to
Uh-huh.
uni. I was even participating in different activities, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was happening in the university. So I think that short, I was like capable of doing that. Like, at that stage, like, when you have energy
Mm-hmm.
or when you have motivation to get that done,
Mm-hmm.
nothing can stop you. So I still remember I used to sleep for 3 hours and I was really charged up, or I would still make my day, you
Okay.
know? Yeah, I used to literally do my assignments in the train with my
Mm-hmm.
laptop, look at the materials, or make myself more efficient by, keeping all my, the research thing doing in the train. I used to kind of manage with that.
Mm-hmm.
And during I think one more thing I think that helped me was that taking classes,
Mm-hmm.
which I think international students just they are, I know it's very tough, it's very hard, you need to make a balance of your financial and your everything. But saying that, me going to a lecture was 100 times beneficial to me in
Mm-hmm.
terms of making my assignment, in terms of having that, adding that skills, or networking with your fellow classmates, or
Mm-hmm.
networking with your tutors. So I still have one of my tutor who is still in touch with me,
Okay.
right? Yeah, so I feel good about it. Like I made those connections.
Mm-hmm.
I think that are the little achievements.
It is true. Like even with me, somehow it depends on like what you're studying, or if whatever you're studying is of your interest or not. Because I remember spending whole 4 years in engineering and I never paid attention to one subject properly. But when I came here, it was somehow I was always at the first bench, like at the first line of the students somehow. I don't know why or out of what, because it was interesting. I actually wanted to study. Actually, I wanted to learn. It also depends on the teachers. Like not everyone was like
Yeah.
that, but with few of them, you enjoyed being at the front of the class and actually asking questions to them, and because
Exactly.
that's how you learn. It's hard to actually read everything and learn by yourself. It's much easier when someone
Exactly.
else is telling you exactly what you need to know. So it's always a good idea to
Exactly.
go out and attend classes.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, I would highly encourage all our international students, or to definitely, at least, you pay a lot of money.
Mm.
You pay a lot of money to get that degree. So why not make most of it?
Sorry.
I still remember, like, referencing this, all things was new to me when I came to Australia. I never did that before.
When you're talking
So
about referencing, you mean like APA referencing and Harvard referencing, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
the Harvard referencing and all
Mm.
those things. So it was very new to me. So I took a help of learning academic learning center,
Mm-hmm.
which is a part of, and I am pretty, so that really helped me. Like they really used to help me with my assignment, which kind of saved my time, my money, if I would have failed that unit.
Mm.
So I think it's very essential for us to know what resources you have and
Exactly.
how to maximize their utilization, I would say, because we pay a lot of money,
This is something
honestly.
that I say again and again in this podcast, but the thing with our international students is that we are so much stuck between just study and work that we do not go out and look for anything else. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter
true.
whichever university you are in. If you are in a university, they have certain services, they have certain resources available, especially for you, because they know that you are an international student. It's hard for you to either write in English or speak in English or understand the concepts and everything. So there's always resources available in every university. It's just us. I think we are just, again, as I said, so much busy in work and study that we don't go out and look for that, you know, which
Exactly.
is kind of just waste of money, waste of time, waste of resources. I think we have had this discussion a lot, even with like our associate vice chancellors or, you know, like academic and everything. It's hard because especially our campus was filled with international students. It was hard to get them into anything, you know, like because one of the jobs that I had was to get as many students as I can into our workshops and our events.
Yeah.
It took me almost 2 years to get at least 10 students at a time in an event.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the sad part of this, you know, like being in this place. Like, again, it depends on personal journey, personal interest. Maybe some people just want money. There are a lot of my friends who have already built houses being here in the same
Oh my
time I've
God.
been here, you know. So there are people like that too. But yeah, it's personal choice. But you should go out, and I think personally that you should go out and utilize those resources because you have actually paid for them, you know.
Exactly.
And
We
the other
pay
thing,
around
yeah,
$3,500 for a unit. That's a
exactly.
lot of money.
That's a lot of money. People try to earn a lot of money and again spend it by paying the uni back because of
Back
that.
to university.
Doesn't make sense, man. Doesn't make sense to me. If you're here,
That-
like at least if you're here to study at a student visa or whatever you enjoy, at least study, man. At least complete. You don't have to get like high distinction in everywhere. At least pass all the subjects, you know. You'll have a degree. No
that-
one is gonna go out there and check your marks, you know. So at least have a degree,
That's
right?
yeah, that's the sad part actually, because and it just, I think sometimes we don't realize that
Mm.
that we are actually doubling our work. We are actually doubling our efforts to do
Mhm.
it when there is some help for you.
Exactly. That's
Why
the thing.
not use it?
That's again comes back to like time management where we talked about like how it's hard to manage time because we don't know, we have never done that. You had some experience living back in India, you know. That's why I think it was. What do you think about this? Like, since you were already living on your own in India, was it like much helpful for you when you came in here?
Definitely, it was. But as I said, when you are financially backed up,
Mm.
like when you don't have to worry. Like when I was in India, I was completely on my student life. So
Mm.
I didn't do any job. I didn't work anything. So I did few voluntary work, but nothing, that would help me to manage my expense. So everything was
Mhm.
taken care by my parents. So that
But even
kind
then,
of,
like you did had like that. Let's say how you knew how to manage money. Like although they send you money once a month, you
exactly,
know how to manage money, how to make that money last for the whole month.
definitely. Oh my God. I still remember how I used to, calculate, okay, this week I have this much money, so I'm
Mhm.
gonna spend this much, and this is my budget, no matter where I'm spending,
Mm.
right? So that kind of, that I think that really helped me when I came here in Australia.
Mm.
Um, I knew how to manage my expense. Like I knew to make a balance between my income and expense,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and also when I was back in India, I stayed, like, I had that freedom. I had that, I would say, freedom to take decision on my own,
Mm.
do everything my own. Like, though it was like, though Nepal and India, we got a very quite similar culture, but still,
Yeah.
India has, like, this. I stayed in Pune, so
Mm.
the state cultures are so different. It took me a while to get adapt to it, but eventually I was able to even speak the local language.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm so proud. I'm so proud of it, actually, to be honest. Now I
Uh-huh.
have lost the speaking thing, but I can
Mhm.
still understand. Like, I think if I go back and
That's
stay there
great.
for like a week, I think I'll get back there.
What language did they use to speak?
Marathi.
Marathi. Okay, so you know Marathi. You can understand Marathi
Yeah.
even if you can't speak. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So and back in India also, we all were international students. So we literally, my class used to be filled with students from 21 countries.
Okay.
So, and we used to have this festival, international student festivals, where we used to celebrate all the cultures, all the traditions. We all used to come together and celebrate it. So it was very fun, a kind of exposure, because I always believe that, you know, until and unless you don't get into that, or until and unless you don't experience yourself,
you'll never know.
You don't get to know. Exactly. Yeah. Like, I still remember when I was back in Nepal, I only knew one culture, right? But when I moved to India, I had a lot of, like, I had a lot of
perspective.
Exactly. I had friends from different cultural background, different ethnicity. So that kind of gave me, you know, now I feel that I can adapt to every culture easily.
True.
So yeah, and I think that really helped me when I came to Australia, to be honest. It was like a simple thing, like back in Nepal we never used to use Google Maps, right? So, but I was in India, so we kind of was used to those things. So when I came here, it wasn't quite new for me, so I was able to like cope up with all this thing easily, so which was a good part.
And you were talking about a lot about like networking, you know, like how networking is important. Let's talk about that. Like, how has networking helped you to be where you are, being the busy woman you are right now?
I think, as I said, when I started working at Alpha Beta Global as a counselor and admin, that's where my networking started. I think that's where I started. Like, I literally used to meet at least 10 new people in a day. So it could be international students, it could be partners, it could be, you know, different sub-partners, sub-business partners. But that kind of built my network widely. And I got to know a lot of things, like, you know, the wider version of everyone. Like, everyone have their own, I would say, perspective, or have their own idea, thoughts. Everyone is creative in their own way. So that kind of helped me to, you know, think out of the box, or excel in my, I wouldn't say excel, I'm still learning, but grow with my career. So currently, so after Alpha Beta, I left in July 2019, and I joined Pathfinders International Education as a senior counselor, where I think I was more responsible for whole operations. After that, I was doing that. I was still studying. I was still on my student visa. And I was waiting for myself to graduate. So the time I graduate, I started looking for a job in HR. So that is where I wanted to, you know, upskill myself, or add more skills in my own field, which I really wanted to do. Because, you know, when you're on student visa, you have that restricted 20 hours thing. So you already have that, your market gets narrow when you have that limitation. So as soon as I finished it, I was like, oh, yes, this is the best time now. I can't miss it. And I have my full working rights. I can't miss it. So yeah, I was doing a lot of job hunting, and then COVID hit, of course, lockdown happened. A lot of businesses were not going well. A lot of businesses were getting, you know, had to redundant their staff. And at that time, it was really, really tough. I mean, I was getting, like, I used to apply for like 10, 15 jobs, and I used to get interview, but, you know, but, like, I used to give at least like 2 interviews in a week, but who never heard back. You know, that was kind of giving me a lot of frustration, that, and staying alone and back-to-back rejections. And it was really tough. It was really tough. Then luckily, I would say it was a part of networking, or it was I would say part of networking. That luckily one day I was just scrolling down the LinkedIn, and one of my friend, he posted he had a vacancy of internal recruiter at his company where he was working, and I saw his post, and I said I applied, and I said, hey, can you at least put me for the interview? So he said, of course, and that's where I started.
Basically, you
And
found
now
it through a LinkedIn network at the end of the day, right?
Yes, correct.
That's the power
So
of networking.
exactly. So then I started. It's not been long. I recently joined the company. So I'm working for Afea Care Services. I'm working as an internal recruiter. So I'm more responsible for recruiting carers, also known as support workers. So I look after them. I look after the whole recruiting process for them. So it has been like, amazing. I joined in September. It's not been long. It's about to be 3 months now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Because I think with the networking, what I've understood right now is like most people, what they look is that when they think about networking, what they think is that if I find this network, I'll find this job. Like they're always looking for a job. Whenever they meet people, they ask if they have job. That's not how networking works. Networking is basically you try to know as many people as you can, so that somehow, somewhere later in future, they would be of help to you. Or they could help you get connected with different people, or they could help you get connected with different resources. It's not only about getting a job. Networking is not about finding that person, the right network, so that you can find the right job. That's not how it works.
Exactly.
Networking basically means know as many people as you can from as many different fields as you can.
Exactly. And you never know, like there's no harm in getting knowledge of any industry or anything. It can be, it doesn't have to be the field you are working, or it doesn't have to be, that you are interested. It can be anything, like, like the Meetup app.
Exactly, meetup thing. Yeah,
that's
go
the
out
best,
and meet people.
That's the best thing you to do networking, honestly.
Absolutely. I haven't done that yet. I did had that app in my phone, but I never went into any meetup. But
I did it during lockdown.
You did?
Yeah, I did. Because I was so frustrated. Like, I was really frustrated. It was like I had to do something for myself. So that's where I end up with Meetup. And yeah.
Where did you go? Like, what did you do with that?
It was a hike. So I just went for the I think it's in the Royal National Park. So we just went for one hike. But saying that, the people I met during that time, like that group, it wasn't a big group. It was a group of 6. But people I met, I'm still in touch with them. So it feels good to know them, or it feels, to have that change, or to know that there is something common. So, I love, as I said, I love traveling. I love to explore new places, the same as them. So now anything comes up, they definitely give me a call, or at least text me, hey, are you interested?
Really? Yeah. That's how you meet people, and you never know who might be of what help to you, or who might have those resources that you need, So it's always a good idea to know more. Nothing was wrong in like having a network in your LinkedIn contact. You don't have to go out there and call them or meet them every day. Just keep them. You never know when they might come up with a job, or they might come up with an opportunity. You never know. That's the thing about networking. Things are changing, always are changing. Like just having a certificate or having a degree won't get you a job today. You need to know right people in right places.
And I think like now, as I'm working as I have learned that it's more about skills. It's more about how you communicate, how much experience you have, how resilient you are. I think the workforce, because of the COVID, I think the whole the tradition thing, like the traditional the culture have changed. Like, like hybrid work models have come up with a mixture of work from home and working from home. like maybe there were a few companies which would give the option of that, but now it's quite common.
Exactly. And it's
Right?
much easier.
So it has changed. It have changed a lot of things. COVID have changed a lot of things, be it so even with the workforce now, it's like, I think it's more about what attitude you have. Like I'm working for an NDIS provider.
Maybe
so
you could
NDIS,
help like any of our listeners or students out there, since you are into HR. Maybe also give some tips to them, like how does it work, or what is a good way to secure a job? What are some of the things you could look into?
I hear. Yeah. So okay, let me first give the example. I literally screen at least 30 to 40 resumes in a week, at least.
So you actually go through all the resumes one by one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have to do that. So when I go through it, I see that, first of all, have the experience which is relevant to the position you're applying for, if that makes sense, right? So put that on top, put that on priority. Even sometimes I have seen the resumes without their phone number and without their email address. And I feel, hey, how am I going to contact you?
Yeah.
Right?
We need to, I'm planning to do one of the resume workshops sooner or later, because I'm trying to do like LinkedIn profile headshots. So at least their profile looks good. I might work on how to build a LinkedIn profile too with that. But yeah, go on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I see that. So I feel like, oh, come on. I mean, we look for, more of what you have, or more of experience. And if you don't even have your contact number on your resume, what does it mean? It clearly shows that, what message you are giving to the employer you are applying is that you are not interested. You are not kind of serious about the role. Right?
True.
So, I mean, be very cautious before applying. Read the whole job title. Sometimes what happens is a lot of people, they apply and they don't even know the job roles. They don't even know the JDs. So, I mean, it's very important to know that what position you're applying.
True.
Be cautious. Read the job description before you apply, if it's if it's gonna work for you or not.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, I think today itself there was this there was this I wouldn't say the name, but I had a person, like, I have been she came up, she said that I need some work, and she was really good. She was really good with communication. She had all the skills, qualifications. She was all good. And how we work is, after screening, we do the assessment center for our support workers, where we kind of screen their multiple skills. So I invited her for that assessment center, and she didn't turn up. And then I was like, I mean,
not serious at all.
Exactly. And later she called me, and she said me, after like end of the day, she called me. The assessment center was at like 11 a.m. and she called me around 5 p.m. said, hey, I couldn't make it. I was like, at least let me know what's going on with you. I could have rescheduled it, right?
Exactly.
It's not necessary that it works every time. It's fine, but communication, right?
Lacks communication. That shows that she lacks communication.
Exactly. Communicate, like, what's happening, what's going on. Communicate, because that doesn't give me up, that shows that you are not interested, or you are not serious about the role. Your first impression itself is not good. So how would an employer proceed?
True.
So yeah.
So just learn how to communicate properly, have a
Exactly.
proper resume, like with relevant work experiences.
Relevant, there are a lot of skills, like there are a lot of transferable skills, like your communication, your attitude, or your skills like teamwork. These are transferable skills, right? So you can definitely have them in your resume, but that's not a issue. But you need to know how to present it, right? So at least, I think there are a lot of website which helps you to build your resume. Honestly, even I use that, to be honest, because they kind of, make it look better. They kind of have those forms where the presentation is really good. So we can definitely use them.
True. Is that your phone?
Yeah.
No, that's my phone. Shit. I can't. Yeah, but that's true, It's like we don't know how to apply for jobs anymore or something, and that's why we don't know what to do. Like even with the building resume, like it's all again, it's different with different people, because I've talked to few of the HR professionals and everyone has a different thing to say, when it comes to like HR and stuff. So when you're looking at the resumes, as you said, like, do you go through each and every resume, or is there like a proper system or something that actually filters out just the resume that you want to look at?
Okay, so yeah, we do. So like we use Indeed, Seek, right, all those platforms to source the candidates. So what happens is on there are few questions that are asked to all the candidates, and few questions are deal breaker. So if that answer is no, that even doesn't come to me.
Okay.
That doesn't, the resume doesn't pass down to the employer, because those are the things which are mandatory. Like, for example, I'm currently recruiting for support worker. So support worker, home care services, or home carer, you can call it. There are multiple ways to say it. So in that, we have few regulations which we have to, because we are an NDIS provider. So all our clients are NDIS participants. So we are under very high compliance, because it all comes from the government. So there are few things which is mandatory with us, like for example, a first aid certificate, which is mandatory, right? Now it's NDIS worker check, which is mandatory, right? So NDIS worker module orientation, and infection now with COVID-19, infection control training for COVID-19. These are the things which are mandatory. Yeah, we do need them when we are,
So basically, when someone is applying through Indeed or Seek, they get filtered out based on those things.
Yes, correct.
Okay, cool. So that's something I wanted to like. But how do they work? Do you have any idea about that? Like, how does those Seek and everything, like, how do you get only like your particular resume is what you want to look at? Does it like actually based on like, do they look at like whatever job descriptions you have provided and what resume do you have? Do they do that on base of that, or how does it work? Do you have any idea around that?
I hope I'm getting it right. How it works is, as I said, like, do you have, let's say I'm hiring for support worker. So my deal breaker question would be, do you have first aid certificate? If anyone, let's say the ad is put up and you are applying for it, and you say that no, you answer it for no. So your resume wouldn't come to me. So that kind of filters that. And after that, we do our screening.
Okay. The screening is basically you
so we do
for the interview.
Yes.
Oh.
So it's basically telephonic screening. So we screen them over the phone. It goes up to 10 minutes, the telephonic screening. We ask them multiple questions, their skills, their experience, why they want to go, why are they applying, what makes them to work in the industry, and all those questions. So it goes up to 10 minutes. And if I'm convinced or looks like he's a suitable candidate, then we call them for the assessment center.
Okay.
So with assessment center, what happens is there are 4 components which we do. So we do case study, we do role play scenario, we do drawing component, and we do a personality test.
Okay.
So these are the 4 components each candidate, after the phone screening, each candidate has to go through.
Mm-hmm. And then only you
So
select the right kind, right person.
exactly, because we currently I'm working in the industry, kind of a very I would say high care and very we deal with disabled people, a very vulnerable group of our community. So we need to be extra cautious. We always believe that it's more of attitude rather than skills. Like, we want our carers to be empathetic.
True.
Right? We want them to be polite. We want them to have a good attitude. We like a person who is not empathetic would never end up giving, would never end up working well with our clients.
True. That's true. That's something
because our clients are disabled or aged group of people. So they need all they need is support to live a normal life, and that's what they seek for.
Yeah, true. That's true. You need to be sure that, because it's like, as you said, you're working with some vulnerable people who are already disabled, who are already going through a lot of shit in their life, So if someone else comes in, and if they are not able to understand them properly, if they are not empathetic, if they don't have that patience sometime, that one might need to have for that job. I personally don't think I'm suitable for that kind of job, although I'm empathetic and I can understand things. I don't think I have that kind of a patience, or
it's a lot about patience too, honestly.
Exactly. Not everyone has that. I've seen a culture right now, basically mostly in our communities, where people are getting into like aged cares and disability care and those kinds of stuff, because the money is good. That's why they're trying to get into that.
But you know what? I used to think the same when I wasn't working in the industry. No, but the cases, it's not the same all time. It's more about passion also. There are people, with us, like there are people who have been taking care of their disabled family member for ages, and they are working as a carer now. So it's not always about that, but it's more about their attitude or what they want to do. There are a lot of people who want to do something meaningful with their lives. There are people who are disabled themselves and also working as a carer with us and giving support to the other people, another disabled people or age group, because they can connect well. Yeah. So I think it's more about what goals you have or how you take it, but that's what I said. We look for more of attitude rather than skills, because we can definitely up skills. We do have a lot of trainings.
Always
in
learn
house.
The technical skills.
Exactly, but we can't change the attitude. We can't change the personality of people.
Yeah, true. That's true.
That's something we can't change. Even being an HR can't do it.
From an HR perspective, how much do you guys look into LinkedIn? And how much is it important to have a good LinkedIn profile if you really want to get into any professional job, not only into NDIS, because you have been in different places? How much does a LinkedIn profile play a role in that?
A big role. I think it's the best. I wouldn't say best, of course, but the first thing to screen anyone. Right. So let's say.
So you guys do go out whenever a resume comes in. You do go out and search their name in LinkedIn.
Yeah, we do.
You do, right?
Yeah, we do.
All right.
Yeah, even like when I was under the interview process, my LinkedIn was looked many times. So it definitely plays a big role, because it's kind of your first impression. Like, it's kind of your resume, right? Like in your resume, there is no recommendation. There's no endorsement by other people. There's not even a picture. Now things have changed. Like LinkedIn gives, there's a picture of you where we can see, how you. It's not about looks. It's about a big smiling face could give a positivity or give a positive vibes, right? Rather than a sad face.
True.
So these little things really matters, and these little things are really taken care by employer when they are hiring. Like even when I'm hiring, I really look after how they present themselves. Like today, honestly, I was taking an interview of one of our candidate. I wouldn't disclose the name, and she was literally in her PJ. And she was sleeping on bed.
Yeah.
She was lying down. So, you know,
that's called lack of professionalism, or they don't understand what professionalism is.
So I said, oh, that's not good. You know what impression you are giving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This
so it's a package of everything, I guess.
These kind of little, like details and things. So it's like most people, I guess, we miss out on because we didn't have an experience. Nobody told us, or we're just lazy, whatever. But these are some those details and like small things that actually matters, right?
Exactly. Definitely. It is not a piece of cake. You have to, you have to struggle, or you have to take an extra step to get everything.
True.
Right? So I think it's all about your efforts. It's all about how you present yourself, and most important, your networking. It's very, being in Australia, I feel, I think not just in Australia, I think any part of the world, networking is very important.
True. Yeah. It's very important, especially in today's world, especially if you want to do something, because as we have even discussed earlier, it just gives you like more opportunities, just gives you more resources. Yeah.
Exactly.
True.
Definitely.
That's cool to know. Let's get a little bit into like how did you deal with the hard times, because you know that, I know that, I've shared it a lot of times, maybe you're comfortable sharing that. We see this I like to talk about this in like with everyone who is here, because mental health problem, it's something that we need to be discussing more about. We need to have more dialogues on that so that people understand these kind of things. And I know that you're seeing a psychiatrist right now. Is that true?
Yes.
Are you comfortable to share about it? Are you comfortable to talk about it?
Yeah, I can. That's not a problem.
It's on you, man. There's no pressure. There's nothing. If only you're comfortable to talk about it.
I think it, if it helps, helps people, that's fine. I'm happy to share with it. So, okay. So during, I think it started in July. July this year, where lockdown started, and I was kind of struggling with jobs and a few other personal reasons. So I was going through depression, literally. And that's something, I think I was like, before I wasn't happy, or I wouldn't say happy, but I wasn't comfortable in, saying that or admitting that, I would say. So I was kind of trying to deal with myself, like trying to deal with my own, like not trying to involve anyone, or trying my own ways to deal with it. But ultimately, I was done. Like literally, that was the time when I thought like, no, this is not happening. I think I'm not able to help myself now here. And I think I need somebody else help. And that's where I landed up with a psychiatrist. I wouldn't say I think it's psychologist. Okay. So
psychologist and psychiatrist are two different people, as far as I know.
Yeah, exactly. So I went with a psychologist. So I started with my counseling. It was a big step for me, to be honest.
To go out there and just have that, I have that experience too. Just to go out there and talk about that to the counselor, that is one of the bravest things you can do in life.
Exactly.
It takes a lot of courage to actually go out and just do that.
I never realized that it would be such a big thing. like I literally never had that courage to do that, and it took me literally 2 months to convince myself and to get that courage. And then I was like, no, this is not happening. I can't do this to myself. I need help. Right. And then that's where I landed up. I still take one session every week. And trust me, it has really helped me.
You can see it in your face. I hope this is what you are right now. I hope that this is not just only for podcast and this is how you are throughout the day.
Really, really helped me. I can see there are a lot of positive impact or a lot of positivity or positivity in my life now. I try to, like, when everything is going down and everything is going negative in your life, you feel that the whole world is against you, and everything is nobody is like, nobody's loving you or nobody cares about you. So you kind of get that thing. It's so weird, but I don't know. I went through that. I felt that.
This is a phase that I go through every time that happens. Like everything is negative.
Exactly.
Like all the emotions.
And you know
are
what?
negative.
When I shared this with my mom, she told me one thing, which kind of clicked me actually, and which kind of encouraged me to go to psychologist. She was like, Chori is like daughter. So she was like, Chori, तिमी सानैदेखि बाहिर बसेको यति इन्डिपेन्डेन्ट भएर आफै काम गरेको अहिले के भयो अहिले एन्डमा किन why are you trying to give up? I said, yeah, I like as I said, I left my home when I was 15. It was a big thing for me, but I did it. Like, I was able to tackle with every changes that came through my way. And now when I'm almost there and I was about to crash, right? And that clicked me. I said, no, I can't let that happen. I can't let all my, hard work, all my, all the struggle I did till date just go in vain. I couldn't do that. So that's where I think I started with counseling, and that has really helped me. I think they it's not a big thing. It's all about having that one person just to talk or express everything without being judged.
True. Exactly.
Honestly, it's literally that. I mean, I thought that because when you are talking, you also, I think every person, every migrant, immigrant who would know about it. You can't share everything with your family, with your parents back in their country, because they would even panic or they would even worry about you. So you can't share everything. So you try to deal as much as you can, and that pressure actually leads to a lot of stress, right? So and with friends, I mean, touch wood, honestly, I have been blessed with really good people around me always. They have been really supportive. They have been I'm really thankful to God for that, honestly. But saying that, everyone have their own life. Everyone is busy in their own life, right? So having that counselor, having that psychologist actually gave me I would say freedom to express everything without being judged. And those little tricks how to change my perspective to see the things have helped me a lot. And I mean, anyone who is going through depression, anxiety, or mental health, or any struggle, or you feel like you're about to crash, I would say don't hesitate to seek for help. If you are not comfortable with seeking help with your known people, because sometimes it's true, you are not comfortable with seeking help to the people you already know, right? So a psychologist is a third person who wouldn't judge you, or who doesn't know anything about you.
Plus, he or she knows how to deal with whatever you're going through.
Exactly.
Normal people wouldn't know that. We haven't studied that,
Exactly. So I think that's where it's happening, and I'm really grateful that I took that decision.
I'm
Um,
glad that you did that. I'm glad you did that.
so here I
Because
am.
it works, you know. Even with me, even with my story, when I had it for like, I didn't had to go to a psychologist or anything. But for all the listeners who are here, if you are an international student, there is a counselor available in every university where you can go out
Yes.
and do exactly the things you said you were doing, and it's free of cost. You know, every
Yeah.
university would have that kind of service available to you. There would be a counselor, although they wouldn't be able to give you exact maybe the solution to that, but just going out, as I said, it's a very courageous thing to go out and talk to them. First thing, just to go out there and talk to them is a very courageous thing. It's very difficult to do that. But if you're going through any kind of situation where it seems like you can't handle it yourself, because what happens sometimes is when you think about things, you think only from your lens, your perspective, your beliefs. And when you do that, it's like you're looking at the problem from inside the box, where you
Exactly.
cannot see the whole thing of whatever is happening or how is it happening.
You get the aerial view of your problem.
Yep.
And
you
you
can't
see
do
that
that. You can't do that by yourself sometime.
Exactly.
When you say it to
You
someone
need someone
else,
to show you. Exactly.
that's when you see that aerial view. That's when you see that broader perspective or whatever is happening or how it is happening.
Yeah.
So it's always a good idea to go out there and talk to a counselor. Although the psychologists and psychiatrists are kind of expensive, I guess, right? How much are you paying per session? Is that, can you open that?
180.
180 per session, right? So yeah,
Per
it's kind of
session and
expensive. It is kind of
45.
expensive. It is kind of expensive for international students to go out there. I think the psychiatrist would
But
be
if you
more
have
expensive.
insurance do cover around 60% of it.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
So the general normal insurance that we just get, it covers that.
Yeah, I think OHC, Alliance,
OHC.
anything.
Mhm.
Yeah, they would cover it. Like myself, I'm with an IB, so 60% is covered up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good
Yeah,
to know.
why not?
And that you should go, man. As you said, if you're going through something else, go out and seek help. It's always helpful, instead of like
Definitely.
just putting it inside yourself and feeling shit about yourself. Just go out and share with someone. It helps, man. Even you go out and share with your friends about what is happening. I'm very lucky as you that I have friends where I could go and tell them exactly what. There are times when I can't tell them, as you said, you can't share everything, but in most of the times, I'm lucky. I'm lucky to have those kind of friends where I could go out and tell them exactly what is happening. Although they don't have an answer to it, or although they don't have a solution to it, just putting it out there, just speaking it out somehow lessens that burden. Somehow it makes it easier to deal with it,
Yeah, it just it's just about putting it out.
Exactly.
Putting it out and just getting that good vibes, I could say. Putting that negativity out of you.
But the thing with that is that you
and
need
you
to.
know what?
The thing with that
And
is
I
that you need to make sure. You need to make sure that you are actually dealing with it instead of just ignoring it. Because
Exactly.
there are times where you just ignore it. You just focus your brain into something else. That is going to come back again if you don't deal with it properly. So you need to make sure that you deal with it properly and not just ignore it and put it aside.
This is this exact thing my counselor told me. He told me, Krishna, I want you to deal with the problem, because honestly, I was so, I wanted a change. Like I was so under, I don't know what that feeling was, but it was not good at all. It was so much of negativity. I wanted it to go away from Sydney. And I told my counselor about it, and he told me, Krishna, you're going to move from Sydney to a different city. What if the same thing comes up in that city? Where are you going to go next? So I want you to deal with the problem instead of running from it. And that's when I said, okay, I'm going to take tortoise step. Maybe it will be a very small step, but I'll do it. So that's where and also one thing I started with, honestly, I'm not a person like I'm not a person who can sit idle for a while, and that's why meditation never passed with me. But like my mom, my dad, they always have been, trying me to put that. And I started with that during that time. I
Mm,
started listening to Sadhguru. I
mm,
don't know if everyone listened to him, but I started listening to him, and that really helped me. And I started doing like now I do 15 minutes. I just do 15 minutes, but
mm,
that kind of helped me to calm myself down and to think more better, to
mm.
think better with my life.
What kind of
I think
meditation do you do?
I put on music,
Mm,
like there's like as I said, I listen to Sadhguru, so I put the Sadhgurus, there are certain music.
mm,
I put that and try to meditate. I literally try to, because
mm.
as I said, I'm not a good person to sit idle,
Uh,
but I try to, and I'm trying to do it at least.
okay. Because what I do is I also do meditation in a certain ways where I just focus on the breath. It's not a big deal. I use Headspace mostly because they have that
Uh-huh.
10 minutes of like guided session. I just do
Uh-huh.
that for the 10 minutes, and for the next 10 minutes I do the same thing but without the guidance by myself. And
Okay.
doing that somehow, helps you to figure out whenever a negative emotion or negative state is starting to appear. You notice that. Now I haven't figured out exactly how to deal with it. It's always different times. But I think that's the first step about this depression or negative emotion, anxiety, anything. That is realizing that you are actually having this. As you were talking about, like you are in a state where everything is negative. Your emotions are negative. Whatever you see is negative. Whatever you feel is negative. Realizing that you are actually in this phase, and whatever you are thinking or whatever you are about to decide or whatever is what happened, that is not the reality. Whatever thoughts is going in your mind, it's just thoughts and it's only there. That's not the reality. That's the first
True.
step, realization. And somehow meditation has helped me with that. I try to do that
Yeah.
like every morning. Sometimes I miss it, but whenever I can, I do that because that somehow helps me to realize the emotions. I realize the feelings that is coming. Because what we do in that meditation session or breathing exercises, we just sit down and just focus on our breath. The
Mm-hmm.
thoughts keeps on coming. There are different thoughts from different places. They are coming. What we do is thoughts and thinking. Thoughts come when we start to give energy to that. It changes into thinking. I think I took it from Sunena Yogi, who was a guest in my podcast. We shouldn't let that thoughts turn into thinking. That's all that we're doing in that meditation. We're just trying to focus on your breathing and just trying to let that thoughts come and go. Doing that somehow helps you to figure out those kind of emotions or thoughts in real life too.
I think I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, try that, man. That has worked for me because once you do that, again, you are already working with a psychologist. So once you know
Yeah.
whatever the negative emotions are coming, you are more aware about it, and you don't make decisions based on those emotions, or you don't, like go out and react just to that. Instead, you just observe and see, okay, shit, I'm having this. Okay, so what's happening wrong? You try to analyze things. You try to look into different things, and sooner or later, that problem gets solved without even you knowing about it.
Yeah.
So try that maybe.
Yeah. I think I should give it a go.
Yeah, I mean, you need to take care of your health. It's not just physical health, but mental health too. We miss that out. Even I miss that out a lot of time. I try to manage my diet and everything, but being an Indian student and working and
Okay,
studying.
the irony, like I come from a like currently, luckily, I'm working with with company which like we deal with a
Mm,
lot of it mental health. Like we had a meeting, we have this town hall meeting every month.
mm,
So we had our motivational speaker who came in, and she did like a half an hour kind of she did the same breathing technique, but it was so soothing
mm.
and so relaxing. And we deal with, as I said, we deal with vulnerable people, so we are more focused on mental health and how to mental well-being, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the irony is, physical wound is visible. The
Yeah.
mental, the mental illness or what's going on in your head, nobody can say that. So that's where I guess, and the cultural background we come from, I
Mm.
think that's where me going to psychologist was a big thing for me, to be
Of course,
honest.
it is. As I said, it's the most courageous acts of your life.
Yeah. So it was such a big thing. I think I still like, haven't disclosed this to my parents, to be honest,
Oh, yeah?
because I don't want them to be worried. But yeah, that was something like it took me a lot of time to, kind of make myself ready for it.
I'm glad you did. Whatever happened, I'm glad you did, and I'm glad you're working on that.
Yes.
Look, life is tough. Whatever people say, life ain't a fairy tale. Life is tough, but there's always a solution. There's always a way you can figure things out. There's always help available,
Yeah, definitely.
Alrighty then. Thank you very much, Krishna, for your time, for sharing this story with us. We're already past like more than 1 hour, I guess. But it was good talking to you after long. It was good. Thank you very much for sharing your story out here. Any last words for our listeners or audience or whoever is out there listening to this?
I would say just keep going.
Mm.
You'll be there. You'll reach there. Just don't stop. You'll be there. Whatever your wish is, whatever your dream is, in terms of your career, in terms of your personal life, anything that can be, just wish for it and work hard for it, and you'll be there. And one more thing I would like to say before we end this. As I mentioned this, I'm working with Afea Care Services, who are an NDIS provider. So I'm currently recruiting for support workers. So anyone who is interested to work as support worker, and also there are different office roles which are on our website. You can head to our website and directly reach out to me.
What's the website?
That's afeacareservices.com.au.
All right, I'll put that link in the description below.
Yes, and my email address is ksen, S-E-N, at afea.com.au. So if you are interested, feel free to send your resume and I can definitely get in touch with you and we can discuss about it. Because, I know how the struggle is to get that job or to, I really want to help international students because I have been in that shoe and I'm like, it would be an immense, I would love to be a little help for them, to be honest. I can definitely guide you through. I can definitely help you with that. So if you're interested, you can definitely send your resume through and we can discuss about it.
Sure, I'll put a link in the description below, and anyone who is interested in that particular job, you already know what you need to do to get that job because we've already talked about that too. So you're in a very good position right now. Whoever is listening to it, whoever wants to get into this industry, get into this job, get in contact with Krishna. Again, thank you very much, Krishna, for your time. It was good to have you here.
It was good to see you too. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, I'll see you again. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
If you like this video, hit subscribe. You can listen to the full podcast in YouTube, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.